Crafting the right message is essential to any successful communication effort. Messages frame the conversation. They demonstrate how you believe the listener or audience should understand the issue, and then lead into your organization's standpoint. Messaging should help people understand why they should care about your issue on an emotional level, raise awareness, and create a sense of urgency, particularly if there's a time sensitivity for your goals. Really strong messaging should fit together like a story that persuades people to change their viewpoint. When constructing messages, you must first understand your audience. What do they care about? What motivates them? What worries them? It's really important to meet your audience where they're at. You don't want to assume that they know as much as you do. Find a way to understand what knowledge your audience already has about your issue and what they need to know to better understand your perspective. You must also be clear about what action you want them to take. Do you want them to take a particular position? Sign a petition? Go to a website? What's the best way to start crafting messages? A strategic way of breaking down messages involves 4 parts: value, problem, solution, and action. The first part is making sure there's a shared value represented in your message that will resonate with your audience. This value should be a starting point for your audience to buy into. It should be broad enough that it's difficult to argue against. Framing your message around a value provides an opening for audiences to be more accepting of your message. For example, we all want children to succeed in school, or all young people should have the opportunity to thrive, be healthy, and pursue their dreams. The second part to crafting a message is what exactly the problem is you are working to address. By being explicit about the problem and showing how it threatens the shared values, you can create a sense of urgency and convey this isn't something we can wait on or push aside. Too many young women and girls in our community are suffering by experiencing anxiety, stress, and depression, and our education, mental health, and juvenile justice systems are failing them. You do want to make sure that the scope of the problem is not so overwhelming that people give up on it or feel as if there is nothing that can be done. When crafting the problem, consider using anecdotes or data to drive home the impact this issue has on real people. At the end of the day, people remember the scope of the problem. Once you've established the problem, then you can talk about the solution. How is your organization addressing the problem? Use this as an opportunity to frame the solution from your perspective. Your audience will be inspired if you can tell them you know what to do to address the problem. Put your organization and your mission smack in the middle of the solution. For example, it is critical that the governor and legislature set aside funding to support school-based counselors and mental health programs to help our young people when they need it most. Finally, make sure to craft a call to action. What do you want people to do? This can be as simple as visiting your website for more information, or it can be as complex as writing or calling an elected official. In either case, if you're able to make the action specific and manageable, you're oftentimes going to be able to get the support you want. Use the lessons learned from SMART goals to help craft a strategic call to action. The messenger can be as important as the message. If a messenger isn't trusted by an audience they are speaking to, even the most persuasive messages might not make an impact. Based on your audiences, consider the types of folks they listen to and who has credibility with them. Perhaps it is a faith leader or a peer like a parent. When you're thinking about choosing trusted messengers, here are some things to consider to make sure your messenger is credible for the audiences you are looking to reach. Do they need to speak a particular language to reach your audience? Are there words they should use or avoid? Are there images or stories they should be familiar with? Is there anything they should be aware of culturally? It's important to keep in mind that the best person to serve as your messenger may be outside of your organization. Investing the time and resources to build relationships with effective messengers, support them in adopting your messaging, and lift them up is key to success. Sometimes your ideal messengers may not be people you have relationships with, so be creative in the way you reach out to them in order to get access. How can you leverage the messengers that you do have access to, such as members of your board or key partners, in order to make a connection? If you can't put forward your ideal messenger, you'll need to tailor your messaging to make sure it's aligned with and sounds credible coming from the spokesperson you do have. When using messaging, it's important to always bridge back to your key messages. Whether you're being interviewed on CNN or discussing your organization with a community group, recentering the conversation back to your messages is a critical skill to develop. Using phrases like, "The real issue here is," or "In my opinion," "The real question is," or "Let me just add that," helps you take control of the narrative and shift back to your own messaging. As you create your messages, you will want to find ways to tailor your message to specific audiences. For example, if you have 3 different audiences you are trying to reach, you could have a consistent set of messages for all 3 audiences, but you will want to adapt for the specific audiences because they are going to care about different things, have different values, and potentially trust different people to be your spokesperson. To recap, messaging is the opening to all conversations about your organization, and effective messaging will make an emotional appeal to your audience and help them understand why they should care. Remember to craft a value statement, contextualize the problem, provide your solution, and call your audience to action in your messaging.